Welcome back. Now, every year, the Mail and Guardian profiles 200 interesting young South Africans, and they stood out from the crowd and done extraordinary work in their respective fields or even their communities. Now, nominees are usually under 35 years of age and have become leaders amongst their peers. But tonight, we are joined by Thembile Ndlovu, co-founder of Authentic Chicks Talk, and S'onqoba Vuba, co-founder and MD of Perpetu-8. Ladies, welcome and congratulations.
Thank you.
I mean, what does it mean to be honored? There are 50 million people in South Africa, and only the 200 elite had to be the ones standing up because of the extraordinary work that you have done. How did it feel for you?
I think I'm still processing. We were talking about that actually just earlier. We're still processing. It's so overwhelming. But the amount of everyone calling and congratulations and exactly what you're saying, thinking about the numbers, how many millions of young people are there in South Africa, and somehow you're being honored as part of an elite 200. It is absolutely amazing, but completely humbling.
Absolutely. And the journey has been long. It hasn't been easy, but has this award made it worthwhile?
Definitely. We share the same sentiments in terms of it being overwhelming, but also quite an honor. As I was reflecting and having conversations, some of the girls that I work with have reached out to say, I'm so inspired. So you realize the impact that young people who look up to you as role models have had from this, but also you realize there's a lot of work still to be done. So that's where the overwhelmingness comes in, where there's still a lot. It's a great milestone, but still there's a lot that needs to be done.
Absolutely. So it comes with responsibility. Correct. It's more like great honor comes with great responsibility. Let's talk about what you each do respectively, because I spoke about, obviously different categories being awarded, whether you're in entrepreneurship or just in social entrepreneurship, giving back to a community. What work do you do?
So the category I was nominated in is the business and entrepreneurship category, and effectively the work that I do, I'm actually in the small business development space. So I run my own company called Perpetu-8, and effectively we're an implementation consultancy for SMEs. So we use freelancers, and we use those freelancers to create short-term employment for them, working inside SMEs to solve problems that they may have in their business. Wow. So we're effectively trying to use the future world of work sentiment, bring that to life in order to raise the game of where our SMEs are in this country. Because oftentimes they can't access the skills because a lot of professionals are working in private sector and aren't going to move to a startup unless it's a certain salary. And what we've done is been able to get those people a full-time employment who are trying to increase what they take home or just trying to find a safe way to get involved in SMEs without leaving their jobs. And we put them on 2-week projects, 1-month projects, and effectively they're implementing solutions to issues that SMEs have. Because a lot of times we're telling SMEs what they need to do, we're training them on what they need to do, we're mentoring them, but then when they get back to their business, it's just how do I do this?
Absolutely.
And where do I start? And I don't even have the time to do it, and where do I find someone to get it done for me? And that's effectively what we're doing as Perpetu-8.
That's important work because ironically it was World SMME Day just the other day, and I think at times we underestimate the place that, or the important place that SMMEs play, especially with retrenchments happening right now in big companies. This is the time for SMMEs because they have the capacity to sort of employ in those skills. But for yourself, let's talk about ACT.
So I was nominated and a finalist for the education category, and Authentic Chicks Talks ACT is really about empowering young girls to be active citizens in society. So we do a curriculum with them where we take them through understanding self, understanding their role in society, but also understanding that there are others that also influence who they become and how they impact in society. And outside of ACT as well, there's also My Voice, Engage SA, which is now looking at democracy and looking how do we get young people to participate in democracy, but also challenge the quality of the democracy that we have in South Africa. So we're looking at different ways that young people can engage and have their voice heard in our democracy.
I mean, seeing you empower women and also seeing a woman honorary right now on this desk, and also seeing in Parliament young women such as Abona Lady Chirwa standing there and representing all of our voices shows that we are leading in the right direction. But you still, there's more that needs to be done because, women still talk about some of the challenges that are still in boardrooms in terms of penetrating, some of the access that we need in, influential decision-making positions, being listed in some of the top 500, JSE listed companies. Is there still more work, even though we are making the milestones?
Tons of work.
Definitely.
Tons of work.
Right.
So, I previously worked in corporate South Africa, and many times, even kind of in this day and age, you're sitting at a boardroom table and you may be the only woman or the youngest person in the room. And I mean, I'm 32, and if you think about it, like, there's still a lot of much younger people in this country whose voices need to be heard.
Right.
And there's tons of work to do, but I think also there's this owning our voice and being more bold in how loudly we speak, in speaking up for the people that we represent when sitting around boardroom tables, and making sure that it becomes a norm to know that there is a female voice, and it is one that is bold and courageous and should be heard and is valued and actually adds value to whatever business or space you are impacting.
Absolutely, and you're agreeing vehemently.
I agree. I mean, in 2019, we're still celebrating that there's a black woman who's MD, and this should be something that we shouldn't have to do anymore. But it's going to take steps, but it's those steps that are milestone steps for us to get to where we want to be.
Yeah. I suppose this is also just an inspiration for anyone watching to say, obviously the both of you weren't doing it for the glory, you're doing it from your heart, you were passionate for it, but it's to say, even wherever you are, whether you are inspiring, your community, Komahayeng in Lewagomo, or you are in Tata or Montfrey in the Eastern Cape, you should play your part, do not be discouraged. And for that young woman, young boy that's watching right now, and perhaps needs that motivation to kickstart, what would your advice be to them?
Geez, so I think it's always important to share both sides of the story. We get very caught up in the glossy, perfect picture of, oh my gosh, she's on MNG 200, and we never really get into the depth of a person's real story and the truth of it. I mean, I'm from Vosloo in the East Rand, grew up in a township, raised by a single mother, studied my backside off in order to get the education I got, which there's no ways my mom would have been able to afford if there weren't entities that were able to sponsor my education.
Right.
So I think that my big thing is, you see all these amazing people and you see all the things that they've achieved, and it's important to always get the full story and understand that you, looking at your circumstances, thinking there's no ways I'm going to end up in that position. I think it's important that the message is that people are succeeding despite the things that may not have gone right in their lives, and that it's really not, it's not impossible. It's hard, you've got to be courageous and you've got to keep pushing, but it is possible, and I think that's an important thing to keep saying over and over again.
It's important to remind that message, especially also because they may look at you and think, oh, an overnight success, but it took years, right?
Exactly.
So what looks like, glitz and glam overnight, it took a lot of work.
And to add to that, I would say be authentic to yourselves. Be truly authentic to who you are. Excel in your lane. We try to be S'onqoba, you try to be Thembile, but Thembile is Thembile, and there's only one of me. And if you do that, you exceed further. And also just not forgetting the people that are there around you, the people that you can collaborate with you, the organizations that I've started. I'm a co-founder. There are people who are not here, but they're at home and they've helped to support to really bring the engines up. So really collaborating with the right people and using the support of the people that you have, and family.
And family is important.
Because they're there to support us and cheerlead us every single day, those sleepless nights. So it's not overnight success, not at all.
Thembile Ndlovu, thank you for your time. Congratulations once more. May this be the beginning of many more to come.